Alrighty, guys, welcome back. Um, I'm Heath Poland with Urban Security Agents, and like I've already said on a couple of videos prior to this, that over the next several days I'm going to be doing some postings and videos and some other stuff about the retreat that I'm trying to get started. And also, this is some of the things that I teach in a civilian class. This is some of the stuff I teach to my guards and officers. Um, Everything I'm basically going to sit here and talk about, my wife has heard over the last 6 years, like on repeat mode. Um, excuse me. I just got done eating dinner, so if I burp or something, just forgive me. All right, so tonight we're going to deal with gun safety. Now I'm taking this off of American Firearms. Um, I'll leave the stuff in the comments for you guys if y'all really want to go over there and look at what they have. I took, I don't know, about an hour this morning, kind of going through stuff online, trying to see who would have the best gun safety rules list or whatever. And these guys I found that were fairly close to what I would say anyway. Um, and I'm trying to do this not like a script, but I'm trying to get something put together in a book. This way I can refer back to it as I'm teaching at this retreat. And if I bring in another instructor, they've got something to go by as well that follows my guidelines under urban. Um, which in truth, all the gun safety stuff should be, you know what I mean? It should be the same across the board. And it all varies on who you read it through, who you go through. I mean, as I go through this list here in just a second, I'm gonna put my own opinions in. Is like, this should have been first, or this should have been second, or you know what I mean. Um, but the main thing is no matter when you're dealing with a firearm, whether it's gun safety, is train. And you're gonna hear me say this a lot. It's train. You've got to train. Hours of training, not just one day and then you think you got it. Put your egos aside and train. Okay. Um, and that's the main thing. At the end of this particular video, they've got a. Let me pull it up real quick, and it's off their website. I believe it is anyway. I'll look and make sure, but it's key facts about Americans and guns. Now I'm not sure how true this is, but just from me reading over it, it's fairly close to what I feel that is true. Okay. All right. So this is the 6 basic gun safety rules. It is important for gun owners to understand and practice gun safety whether they are alone or with friends and with family. There's no such thing as being too careful when it comes to responsible gun ownership. I mean, that's just what I said. They worded it like this. I worded it as train. You have to train. No exceptions. You have to train. For anybody considering buying and storing a gun, there's some basic, and this is what we're talking about, basics, fundamentals, gun safety rules that you should be aware of and practice at all times. Now, as we go through this, I've got my firearm right here with me. Okay? All right? And as you can tell, this little lip right up here, I'll see if I can get it to show decently. It's loaded. Also, see my finger never went down to the trigger. Okay? So, and we're going to discuss this, but I'm going to go through and talk about it with my firearm and these rules. And as I just said, rule 1, always treat every gun as if it is loaded. I'm also going to add my own little stuff to this as well, okay? These guys did a phenomenal job, and I'm going to do a shout out to them. They did a great job of doing this list, but I'm going to add some of my own stuff. Even if you are sure it's unloaded, treat it as if it could go off at any time you handle a firearm, a gun. Assume the gun is loaded, even if someone tells you it's not. Even if they, you know, take everything out, break it apart, put it back together, and then hand it to you. Treat it like that son of a bitch is loaded. It's a good practice to get into, period. If you are not familiar with that firearm, give it back to them. Have them open it, do everything else, and show that it is unloaded. And then you can go on with it, okay? Have them teach you about their own firearm. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing. I'm not perfect. I'm human. I don't know everything. Always point a gun in the safest possible direction and be aware of where it is pointing. A safe direction means that it is pointing away from anybody or anything that could be injured or damaged if the gun was accidentally discharged. It's important you never point a gun towards yourself or another person, only at your target. I'll get back to that here in a second. So this may end up being a 2 or 3 part video. Always keep your finger off the trigger. It's called indexed, according to these guys. I call it trigger discipline. Unless you're ready to shoot, your finger should be off the trigger and outside the trigger guard, even if it feels more comfortable to rest your finger on the trigger. There's always a potential that you could stumble or accidentally pull the trigger. Sudden noises and movements can also result in accidental discharge, as humans have a tendency to tighten their muscles when they're startled. Remember that the trigger is for firing and the handle is for handling. Now, I think I would have put grip there, but you get the point. Always know your target and the general area surrounding it. Always be sure that the areas in front of, behind, and around your target are safe before shooting, so that you will not hit anyone if your bullet misses or completely passes through the target. If you are not sure about your surroundings, do not shoot, and never fire at a target that is only a movement, color, sound, or shape you can identify. Always be aware of the people around you before you shoot. Number 5. Always know how to operate your gun before you try to shoot it. Not all guns are the same, so you should make a point to become thoroughly familiar with your gun and its mechanical characteristics, such as how to properly load it and unload it, and how to clear a malfunction. If you are unsure about anything, ask your firearms dealer or the gun's manufacturer. Always store firearms safely to prevent unauthorized use. Your guns and ammunition should always be stored in a separate place, and securing a lock, box, safe, or other secure storage option so that it cannot be used unless you or somebody you authorize personally takes it out for use.